Land-based Spanish mackerel, one of the pinnacles of land-based game fishing. How do you actually catch them? Good news, you've come to the right place today because we're going to be going through 3 steps that is going to absolutely help you hook into your first land-based Spanish mackerel, even if you live in New South Wales, and hopefully help land that fish for you. Stay to the end of the video. I'm going to reveal 6 top spots that you can start off trying for your land-based Spanish mackerel along the east coast of Australia. Proven spots. Hey guys, Luke here from Endless Seas and welcome to another episode. Step number 1, we're going to talk equipment and tackle. What do you need to catch your land-based Spanish mackerel? So one of the most critical pieces of equipment is your fishing reel. And I recommend a high-speed fishing reel. A lot of reels will come in a low-speed model and also a high-speed model. High-speed is a high gear ratio, so with every turn of the handle, usually about 6-to-1 is high speed, often maybe 5.8-to-1. When you're going lower than that, it would be considered a low speed reel. So high-speed reel, 5.8 to 6-to-1, and that will be over 1 meter per line. That's probably the most critical part, is it needs to wind in more than 1 meter per line. So here we have a Stella 8000 HG. It is 5.8-to-1, so every time this handle goes from here to here, this turns around 5.8 times. And that equates to, from memory, 105 centimeters to 110 centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. But it's critically over 1 meter per wind is what you want. I've also got a Saragossa 6000, very similar specs on there. Probably a centimeter or 2 less per wind, being a smaller reel, but it is definitely over 1 meter still. And it does the job. One of the reels that's going to be in this video with a lot of the Spanish mackerel I've caught in New South Wales, might I add. It's been retired now, this reel. I'll just bring it over. It's a Daiwa Saltist 4500. Very good line capacity on there. But I believe this was a 6.1-to-1 or 6.2-to-1. Very fast reel, 113 centimeters per wind. That's the one that's done most of the damage on my land-based Spanish mackerel back in the day. It was my 21st birthday present, a request. I had my parents ask me what I wanted, and yeah, that is the reel that did most of the damage. So why do I recommend a high-speed reel? Well, high-speed reel, 1 meter of line per wind. The way that we work the lures, which I'll go through as a technique, the mackerel really respond to a fast-moving lure. It creates a bit of a reaction bite, and when you have a reel that is low gear, less than 1 meter per wind, like 90 centimeters, 80 centimeters, you just can't wind your lure in fast enough, and it's many casts. It's a fish of 1,000 casts. Maybe there's a few different sayings like that. It's very wearing on the body if your reel isn't high speed. And also, you're not as likely to get the bite, that reaction bite. High speed reel, very important. So what sort of rods do we want to use? So matched with those reels. Another thing I might add, so the 6000 Saragossa, we want to be having roughly around 300 meters of line, give or take. More is better, obviously. So I run 30-pound Tasline braid on here, which I think I'm bordering on 300 meters. It might be 280 or so. On the Daiwa, I used to run that. That fits more than 300 meters just because it's the deeper spool. So that's a 4500. Which is a little bit bigger than a 6000 Shimano. So 4500, 4500 Daiwa in the old scale. They've changed their sizing to be pretty similar to Shimano now. But I would say that 4,500 would be very similar to an 8,000 size Shimano, as you can see there. So 30-pound line is sort of my go-to. 30 to 50 pound is what I would recommend for Spanish, and you want to fit around 300 meters, if not more. Probably 30 to 40 pound is very common. 50 pound is getting a bit heavier if there are other fish like kingfish there or GTs where you need a bit more power. But 30 pound definitely does the damage and casts very nicely. Mackerel aren't dirty fighters. They're not going to get you into the reef. But sometimes you do need that power to control them, to stop them going around headlands or bommies in the water. They're not really going for the bommies, but if on the rocks, if they're swimming sideways or around some sort of structure, your line may catch there. So having a bit of extra power is handy. The 30-pound line, that's my go-to. And the leader that I like to use is anywhere from 50 to 80 pound. So I only use the cheap stuff, guys. Been using it for years. We've got Jarvis Walker here, 50-pound bulk line. 220 meters there, that costs about $6. And 80 pound there, same thing, $6 or so, just a bit less line on it, 150 meters. I have used expensive fluorocarbons in the past. You spend $30 to $50 for 30 meters and you run out pretty quickly and it gets expensive. And I've found this cheap stuff definitely still gets the bites and definitely does the job. I almost maybe even prefer it. It's got a little bit more stretch in it, the standard line, which really helps not pulling hooks. Your braid is very firm with no stretch, so having a little bit of stretch in the mono I think actually helps a lot, keeping the hook secure. You're not reefing the hook, creating a hole there for it to fall out, and same striking. Yeah, I just like it, that little bit of stretch in the mono leader rather than fluorocarbon, and you save a heap of money. So we're going for the reels, we've gone through the braid, gone through the leader, and on top of that, let's talk about rods now. So rods, I do like to use a fairly long rod. 9 foot is my go-to. I got a couple favorite Samaki rods. So this one here has done most of the damage for me. It's a 9-foot Samaki Zing, generation 1. So this is over 10 years, this rod. It's probably 10, 12 years old now. And the rating on it is 10 to 25 pound, which is roughly 5 to 12 kilos, I would say. A lot of rods are 6 to 12. This is a 5 to 12 kilo. So being in that, covering that lower range, there is a little bit of width in the rod, which handles if you're casting smaller lures for tuna. But 9-foot rods, anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds, so 5 to 12 kilos is what I recommend. One of my other favorite rods is this Samaki Torpedo. It has a really nice grip on the back here. Its rating is 12 to 25 pounds, so a little bit heavier. That's 6 to 12 kilos. If I give you a look at them side by side, you can see one is just slightly thicker than the other. That's what's giving it that extra grunt, being 6 to 12 kilo rather than 5 to 12 kilo. So a 9-foot rod with a nice, you want a nice length butt section, I call it, to give you a fair amount of leverage when casting. The technique for the land-based Spanish requires the longest cast you can make, really. So if you've only got a short rear grip or rear butt here, you're not going to get as much leverage. There is a little trick, you can hold the line up here to get that leverage, but then you're shortening your rod essentially. So you want a little bit of length here. Doesn't have to be crazy long. This 10-foot rod, it's even longer at the back, you can see. So the rod's not actually that much longer, it's more in that castability at the back section here. So 9 foot with a bit of length there for casting. And then these rods are what you call fast taper or quick taper. That means that probably the first third of the rod is where the bending happens. Until you really load them up, then they'll start bending down further. So with a quick taper or a fast taper, that means when a mackerel hits it and you strike, you got quite a serious striking force, which is going to set the hooks in the mackerel's mouth. They have really bony mouths. And if you've got a slow taper rod, like a jigging rod generally bends down near the reel. Your whole rod is going to absorb that striking, and it's going to be a lot softer strike on the fish, which isn't helpful when they have hard bony mouths. You want quite a harsh striking action. Fast taper as well, where it's the first third that bends when you're casting lures. It gives a really nice flick action, where if it was slow taper, when you cast, the whole rod wobbles, and that doesn't help with your casting distance. So you want a fast taper rod where it's just more the last third of the rod that's going to really flick that lure and then remain straight whilst the line is traveling outside the reel. 9 foot is what I recommend. There are some rods like 9'6", 9'2", all very similar, and even up to 10 and 11 foot. I would say 11 foot's probably getting a little bit long there, but if you can manage that, I'm sure you'll get a very nice cast out of it. Going less than 9 feet is going to start reducing your casting distance. So 9 foot sort of there in the middle, you get quite a nice fight and control on the fish. It's not too long, but you still got that length to keep the line away from the rocks. Yeah, so we've gone through reels, line, leader, rods. There are many different rods out there. Having a good feel of them in the shop, getting the workers there to help load them up so you can test what sort of taper they are. Fast taper I think is critical as well for casting distance and also striking force.
have been good so I get a good photo.
Yeah. Oh, så det kan vi gå.
So we'll call this step 2 now. So step 2, what sort of lures are we going to use and how do we work them? What is the technique? So my go-to lure for the land-based Spanish is a large metal chrome lure. I have one here, for example. The mackerel really respond to a flashing chrome. They really love that, and if that's moving really fast, they can't resist it. So you can see I've added on the back here quite a large treble. They have big mouths, mackerel, and you want exposed hooks and large hooks, and you want striking force with that rod to set those hooks. And we've also got a swivel here and some 69-pound single strand wire. So very important as well, 69-pound single strand wire. You can get lucky sometimes. I've caught a couple of mackerel without wire whilst chasing tuna, but definitely recommend the wire if you're specifically hoping for them and you don't want to get bitten off, because the mackerel don't care about the wire, and the lure is moving that fast that they don't care. Even if they did see that wire, it probably is sort of imitating a garfish or something. So that lure there is, I think, about 85 grams, maybe more. I've got that one off bustedfishing.com. I believe it's chrome-plated brass. So your brass lures, when they hit the rocks, which you try not to hit the rocks, they last reasonably well. If you buy lead painted lures, they just don't last on the rocks. They get damaged very easily. You can go down to a 65 gram, that's a shore catch night. On the Samaki Zing with the camo grips, that's what I would use. I would use a 65 gram shore catch night or a 60 gram bishop, I think they call it. The bishop was more of a, don't have one today, sorry, but it was a larger profile and flat. I think larger is better for the mackerel, but you do have to select the appropriate weight for your rod. My Samaki Zing wouldn't really handle probably an 85, but at 65 it casts it all day long. The Samaki Torpedo though, the little bit stronger one, the 12 to 25 pound, definitely 85 grams. It'll handle it all day long. So that's the go-to lure. And what we want to do is cast off the rocks where you are fishing. You want to cast as far as you can and then let the lure sink to the bottom. Maybe I'll get this out for a demo. So lure with a fast taper rod, you may have the lure hanging quite a fair way down here. Cast it out as far as you can. Let the line come out as the lure's sinking. You can feel it in your fingers in case something grabs it. Once you feel that lure hit the bottom, flip the bow back over, and you literally want to wind as fast as you can. Often I'll have even my rod is sort of doing that action. You literally cannot wind too fast. The faster the better. Once the lure hits the top of the water, then you can slow down and sort of keep it subsurface, just under the water. And then you want to repeat that. You can cast at different angles out as far as you can, let it sink to the bottom, and then wind it as fast as you can. It feels a little bit weird to start with, but hopefully you've seen a few of my other videos in the boat. Same technique there, winding as fast as I can. And the mackerel if they see that flashing in the distance, they just cannot resist that and will come over and nail it. Make sure your drag is quite tight. They'll hit hard, make sure your rod doesn't get ripped out of your hands, but then secure the hook up. Make sure you really jam those hooks into the fish's mouth and enjoy the fight. It'll scream off, peel heaps of drag. You can loosen the drag a little bit after you feel you've secured the hook up. Yeah, they might go for a couple of runs before you get them in, and yeah, hopefully that'll work for you.
Thank you, Lord. Hey? Yeah, it feels good. Going around there too. Come on. It's coming in now, yeah, it's starting to go around. No, not that much, eh? I had a lot of pressure. But doing some good head shakes, eh? He's just coming around here now. I'll try and just trying not to wind him in too far, eh? Oh, thank you, Lord. I said thank you, Lord. Oh, he's going around there, eh? There he is. It's just in that, where that wash is. Should I free spool him? Oh, he's a nice Mac. Just, oh, he's probably like your one. I'm stoked though. Down there, and I'll try and get him around. He's just not coming, eh? There he is. If you can get him there. I was resting there. There you go. Tony! Whoa!
Well done, mate. Well done.
Thanks for that.
I'm glad I could return the favour. I was worried, mate.
Yes! Oh, awesome. Second Spanish.
Mate, I know guys, two of my mates, they've been live baiting for over 20 years, they still have
Okay.
go 2 and 3 days.
Oh, glad I kept spinning, eh?
So step number 3, well, how do you actually find the mackerel, Luke? Where are they? When do I go fishing and where do I go? So the mackerel are very seasonal for New South Wales. They make their way down from up north. They migrate down south with the East Australian current, the EAC, which is the same current that's on Finding Nemo with the turtles. And Nemo makes his way down to Sydney on the East Australian current. These currents bring down warm water pelagics like Spanish mackerel, tuna, cobia, marlin, a whole range of species. And so, yeah, the Spanish mackerel travel down with this warm water. So in Queensland, definitely you can catch them sort of year round, but definitely does seem to be more seasonal. Certain spots will have the mackerel inshore in bigger numbers. All around Australia, from halfway up Australia, around the top end and down in WA, Spanish mackerel are definitely a target species land-based off the rocks. You just have to find out when they're in season. But for New South Wales, the summer and autumn months, that warm current starts making its way down, and you want to find, I like to fish headlands, so rocky headlands. Often you'll have a beach and a headland that comes out into the ocean, and the East Australian current will cross these tips, the tips of these headlands, and you'll have awesome fish swimming past at times. A couple of famous ledges that you'll find through a quick Google search. And so once you've found the rocky headland that looks good with sticking out in the ocean and East Australian currents coming down, more than likely, if the current is flowing, you can check on the internet the sea surface temperatures on BOM, I believe it is, and you can monitor the current coming down. There's sort of like an image of Australia and different color temperature from green, yellow, red. Usually red and white is the really hot water that you'll see coming down the coastline. You can monitor that and you can sort of estimate when that warm water is coming down. But yeah, so pick a headland. Maybe there's a bit of local knowledge from your tackle shop or researching online where you might catch them. Sometimes breakwalls are also an option out at the mouth of a river, but rocky headlands is my favourite that stick out in the ocean a fair way. Often there's a bit of a hike to get there, could be a couple of kilometres of a goat track. And then fishing there, if the current is flowing, you'll notice when you cast your lure, if I cast in that direction, by the time it hits the bottom, it's already moved over to here. That's a good indication that that warm water current is flowing past that headland, where if you fish there in winter, cast the lure and let it sink and it sort of lands in the same spot, it means that East Australian current probably isn't flowing. So that's probably a common indication that I found is good for the mackerel when the current is really flowing hard, which is that East Australian current, warm water. And early first light, first daybreak in the morning is probably the prime time for fishing for the Spanish mackerel. I like to fish the leading up to a high tide, so if it's high tide at 9 a.m, getting there before daybreak and casting. Many people have caught a Spanish mackerel while it's still dark. Somehow that chrome lure must still get a bit of reflection from any bit of light that's coming through, and the mackerel just can't resist it. That's where you want to be fishing. Rocky headlands that stick out into the ocean. Pretty well, if you look on Google Maps, you'll see every single beach town, there's many different rocky headlands to get out to. Some are pretty isolated with goat tracks. Other ones Can look pretty easy to get to, or we're within suburban sort of areas where you can park the car there. And you want to be making sure you're fishing during the right season when the East Australian current is running. For New South Wales, probably all of New South Wales down to Foster area, not quite Newcastle, but if you're fishing in March or April, you're definitely in the zone. As you make your way up the coast, you can start fishing earlier, February, January. Not sure if in December any spots would hold any mackerel, but definitely January onwards if you're in those northern areas. I know where I grew up, probably February and March were killer, were the times. So that's step number 3. I'll roll on some footage now of another mackerel, and I'll see you in a bit.
It's not. You might be better off chasing it. I'm with you. Might be the same thing you hooked earlier, mate. Just a supercharged Mac Junior, I reckon. Coming around. No, my lure. I got my lure stuck. Looking at your fish. Thanks, mate. Here we go. He's coming back the right way now. In the end, it's just a big tuna. It's running pretty slow now, isn't it?
They haven't gone far enough. It must be tuna.
Tuna would be screaming.
Sometimes
Might
they
be a
slug it
code.
out too. Slug it out into push.
Yeah.
Takes in. You see it, you can't get the water from it.
Yeah. Underwater, or just stand behind you. They can see what you're seeing.
Look at him, close saying, just above that reach. Is that frayed line there, Luke, is it?
No, that's the foam.
Sure.
I think so. Yeah, it's fun. I've been in a bit of trouble with this frayed line. It went for a real good run at the start there. You're right near the side there. It can't be too far away. There it is. I can see a flash. Silver, Big Mac, I think. Spanish. Here it is, right here. There we go. Nice shot. First one in. You got it through the top fin. No way. No way.
Can you believe that?
This is a big Spanish. Look where he's hooked it. This is, look at that.
Put that fish back.
Yeah.
Come on.
How can you hook a fish like that? Nicely done. Nicely done.
You are not allowed to do that.
That's a big Spanish, and you've hooked it just through the top fin. Chuck it back in.
Oh, that's
Do you
amazing.
want to take a few shots yourself? Or?
Oh, that's a big mackerel.
Yeah, that's a heavy mackerel. Look how he hooked it. Look at that.
That's a good idea to take it easy. It's ridiculous. Look at the size of it.
There you get back in that water. There you go, it's come loose, look.
Oh, no way.
Did you see that?
Oh, was it hooked in that fin?
It was hooked in the top of that fin.
One treble
in this
through there.
tiny little thing.
We'll get some photos. Not allowed to jack this,
John, yeah, I think you have to put that back. Oh, he's got a bit of shake to him still. I don't know how far back I have to be to get this all in the frame.
No, don't get it all in the frame.
It's pretty wide. There we go, he's chomping away. Oh, did you hear that? There we go. How heavy do you think he is?
Actually, press that top button.
Okay, as promised at the beginning, I said stay to the end. I'm going to reveal to you half a dozen spots for you to try along the east coast of Australia. So starting from the most southern point, I'm going to mention Foster. It is possible to get your Spanish mackerel off a few ledges there. Moving up north, you've got Hat Head, Corogoro Point. It's a pretty famous ledge. A few videos on YouTube under Spinning for Spaniards. Check them out. Moving further north, we've got Coffs Harbour, Muttonbird Island. Further again, Iluka Breakwater. And then even between there and the Gold Coast, I'm sure there's many different beaches you could, beach towns with breakwaters or headlands to have a look at on Google Maps. Then you've got Noosa Heads. There's a pretty famous ledge there called Hell's Gate. It's quite a big trek to get out there, a long walk, but an easy one. Lots of awesome views of the ocean there and different bays on your way out. And then 1770/Agnes Waters is a very well-known spot there. Mackay, obviously, the breakwater is known for the Spanish mackerel. I would say though, New South Wales seems to be, because it's seasonal and bigger numbers, almost easier than land-based off Mackay. But I do encourage you to hop on board Google Maps and have a look at the headlands and the rocky outcrops and breakwaters and make a bit of judgment yourself on what looks like a good ledge to be fishing off. If you do live in the Mackay region, I do run my business Shore Vault, electrical and air conditioning work. Happy to help out if you got any jobs around Mackay. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, would love to hear back from you, some feedback. If you got any questions for me or what you would like to see in the next video, or some criticism on the land-based Spanish mackerel fishing, let me know what's the biggest Spanish mackerel that you've caught and where. It's pretty cool that across Australia that's possible. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment.